Hello everyone and welcome to our podcast. We are here at the 4th Şuşa Global Media Forum. I am Orucal Askerov, a media volunteer, and I want to introduce our special guest, Mr. Moninder Singh, head of the International Singh Federation. Welcome, Mr. Singh.
Yeah, thank you for having me. On the Sikh Federation International, we're an organization that's political in nature. We work for the Sikh community. We're a global community of about 30 million people, primarily based in the Punjab region, which is bordering between India and Pakistan today. And we do a lot of lobbying work. We're at the United Nations, international agencies, the European Union, and in governments in Canada, the United Kingdom, the United States. So we do a lot of work for our diaspora community, which is about 5 million people outside of Punjab as well.
Thank you for introducing yourself, and let's start our discussion with the first question. What makes information trustworthy in the digital media area?
I think one of the biggest things is honesty. That it has to be honest reporting, both from the host and the media reporters, but also from the subjects that they bring on. What we often see is that minority communities that are occupied sometimes get state narratives that are actually pushed on them. So in order for information to be trustworthy, for media to be trustworthy, and the information that they're putting out to be trustworthy, there has to be honest reporting going on. And for that, you need checks and balances. You need them to be able to be investigative. So they actually go to the root of an issue. They don't actually stay at the surface level. And one of the biggest things is in today's day and world, especially the digital age where media is so fast, you often see people in a race with one another who can get to the story first, who can put the information out first. Often what that does is it creates false narratives. And what we see I will say I'm from Canada, what we see in the West is that there's this echo chamber, which means basically that people only want to learn about what their political view is. So if you're on the left or the right, you stay in an echo chamber. The people on the right wing, only listen to right-wing news. People on the left only listen to left-wing news. And what you get is these polarized sides that actually hate each other. Rather than you can have a difference of political opinion. And unfortunately, the media plays a big role in that because it is actually media. That it's right-wing media and left-wing media, and they're the ones that are polarizing everyone rather than having an honest and general media that is just covering stories, putting out information, letting people come to opinions. But what we see sometimes happening, and I would call that dishonest media, that it's not trustworthy, is that rather than giving out honest information, most of these platforms then give out what they feel is their political objective, and then they polarize people on that basis. So I think that is what makes media the most trustworthy, is having honest journalism and independent journalism. Journalists have to be independent. They have to cover stories from an honest perspective, provide the right information, and not polarize communities, but rather let people make their own decision with the right information.
Thank you for your information. And how do you think, does transparency matter more than speed in the digital media?
I think in today's day and age, speed is what people prefer, but transparency is so much more important. Honesty and transparency in media and journalism is its foundation. It's always been the foundation of journalism and media. Once you move into this idea of speed, then you're in a competition. You're no longer worried about what the actual content is, the honesty behind it, the truth behind it. And if media is not about the truth, then we were lost as a society. So journalists and media persons know that very well, that truthful media is what keeps us as a society functioning in a proper and cohesive manner. Otherwise, what you have is you have wrongful narratives. Power controls a state narrative. And if you look at we're in Şuşa right now, and if you look at there's a genocide that happened in this area. But when somebody else has control, they will say that, these people that were killed here, not so many people died. So they'll lower the numbers. They'll say it was a conflict, it was war, that these were not innocent civilians, they were combatants. And then they'll go as far as saying that nothing happened. And they'll erase the entire history. The only time that Azerbaijan was able to show that this was a genocide is when they had power, when they actually took their lands back, and then they were able to show that there was an actual genocide of people committed here.
Yeah, thank you for your information. And as algorithms increasingly shape what we see online, how can media organizations strengthen public trust?
I think this is where it comes back to the actual honesty piece of it. If you have, I believe if you have investigative journalists that are actually going onto the site and actually speaking to the subject, rather than making up what they feel is the truth by sitting hundreds of miles away. So we have to ask ourselves a question as society: are we actually engaged in journalism and media, or are we engaged in business only? Journalism and media can be a business. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it's just about clickbait, sensationalization, then all you have is people reporting on things that are false. Or like what clickbait actually is that they sensationalize something so people will click on it, and those clicks will get you money in the future. But that's not honest reporting. That's dishonesty at the end of the day. So I feel like in this age of AI, this age of algorithms, how we actually function now is very different.
Okay. And how can media balance speed, accuracy, and authenticity without compromising audience trust?
I think it's very difficult because if we don't get out of the business model, it's almost impossible. One of the fundamental problems with media today is that it's completely overrun by business models, the billions, trillions of dollars that go into it. So in that space, if we don't get out of the business model of media and leave it as in there has to be honest journalism that is balanced with business, then we have a huge long road ahead of us, which is going to be very complicated. If you look at the world today, it's never been more polarized ever. People want to debate everything. Dialogue did not mean debate. If we look at the word debate is a fixed position. Either you're for the affirmative or you're for the negative. So either you're for or you're against, and you have a fixed position and you don't move from that position. And if you have dialogue, you're there to learn. In our community, from the Sikh perspective, Sikh means to learn. So our actual name as a people is learners, to learn. So we don't believe in debates, but all we see in media is debates, is people fighting each other, is trying to say the most wildest thing. If you say something, I have to say something even wilder in order for me to be relevant. I think those are the things that break trust in society. A vast majority of what we see in the media today, and this is unfortunate, is entertainment. We watch it as we would watch a movie. We watch media as we would watch a soap opera or a drama film. We don't watch media as much for information anymore as we do for entertainment. So in order to build trust, we have to go back to honest reporting, investigative journalism, and having those platforms that cover minorities like our community and other communities around the world, that give them a fair chance at building narrative.
Okay, thank you for accepting our invite. It's very nice to see your great opinions and insightful perspectives. See you later.